Peace be upon you.
A timeless image etched into the collective mind. Gleaming swords under a desert sun. A choice offered to conquered peoples. A new faith or the edge of the blade. This is the legend that has been told for centuries, the myth of Islam's spread by the sword. But is this the whole story? Or is there another narrative buried beneath centuries of bias and misunderstanding? In this episode, we embark on a journey to uncover the truth.
Before we delve into the annals of history, we must start at the source. At the very heart of the Quran lies a foundational principle stated unequivocally in chapter 2, verse 256. Let there be no compulsion in religion. Truth stands out clear from error. This wasn't just a slogan, it was the constitutional basis for engaging with others. Faith is a matter of conviction, and hearts cannot be conquered by force. This principle is reinforced again in chapter 18, verse 29. Say, the truth is from your Lord. Let him who will believe, and let him who will reject it. The Prophet Muhammad himself translated this into policy with a clear warning recorded in the Hadith collection of Abu Dawood. Whoever wrongs a person under treaty, I myself will be his accuser on the day of judgment. His accuser. How could a religion whose prophet personally defends the rights of non-Muslims be a religion of coercion?
One might say, these are your own texts. But what does history say through the voices of Western academics? The British historian Thomas Arnold, in his landmark work, The Preaching of Islam, concludes after years of research that the spread of the faith was the result of peaceful missionary work, not military force. The French historian Gustave Le Bon states in his celebrated book, The Civilization of the Arabs, force was not a factor in the spread of the Quran. The Arabs left the vanquished free in their beliefs. But perhaps the most powerful verdict comes from the historian de Lacy O'Leary, who writes in his book, Islam at the Crossroads, the legend of fanatical Muslims sweeping through the world and forcing Islam at the point of the sword upon conquered races is one of the most fantastically absurd myths that historians have ever repeated.
The most compelling evidence isn't found in books, but on the map of the world. Look at Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim nation today. Not a single Muslim army ever set foot on its shores. Islam arrived on the ships of merchants and mystics from Arabia and India. Their sword was their honesty, and their spear was their integrity. In Malaysia and across West Africa, the story repeats itself. Great empires like the Mali and Songhai empires embraced Islam through trade routes. Hundreds of millions of Muslims today live in lands that never once saw a Muslim sword.
And now we come to a story that turns all logic on its head. In the 13th century, the Mongols swept across the Muslim world. They sacked Baghdad in 1258 CE. They were the absolute military power. They were the conquerors. The Muslims were the conquered. According to the logic of spread by the sword, Islam should have vanished. But history reveals a stunning reversal. The descendants of Genghis Khan, the very men who held the swords, began to embrace the religion of their victims. Berk Khan of the Golden Horde, and later Ghazan Khan of the Ilkhanate, converted to Islam willingly. They went from being the destroyers of Islamic civilization to its new champions. So we ask the proponents of the sword theory, what sword was held to the Mongols' throats? The truth is, Islam conquered their hearts with its spiritual and civilizational power.
So, what about the military conquests? Let's take Egypt as a case study. Before the Muslims arrived, the Coptic Christians suffered brutal religious persecution by the Byzantine Empire. Coptic historians of that era, like John of Nicaea, documented this oppression. When the Muslim army arrived, it came not as an enforcer of a new creed, but as a liberator. The exiled Coptic patriarch was restored to his position. This is why Egypt remained a Christian-majority country for centuries after the conquest.
احنا ليه نسينا ان عمرو بن العاص هو اللي رجع البطرك بتاعنا الكرسي. لما جه كان في بطرك دخيل يوناني فرض علينا واضطهدنا. تصوروا، مسيحي واضطهدنا لدرجة ان البطرك اختفى والاسقفة اختفوا من كتر الاضطهاد. رجع عمرو بن العاص قال لهم فين وجابوا ورجعوا كرسي وأعاد له كل كنائسه. حاجة جميلة، هو ده الإسلام.
حسب ما قرأت في التاريخ أنهم كانوا 3000 واحد واستقبلوهم الأقباط. احنا كنا تعبانين جدا من الحكم الروماني.
نعم.
وكانوا باعتين المقوقز والي وبطريرك في نفس الوقت، وكان مستبد وكان بيتعب جدا الأقباط لدرجة أنه نفى البابا بنيامين إلى الصحراء بعيد عن كرسيه.
نعم.
عمرو بن العاص لما دخل ولقينا أنه هو قادر على استعادة البطريرك وعودته مرة تانية لكرسيه، اتبسطنا جدا وقعدنا مع بعضينا.
فكتب عمرو بن العاص إلى أعمال مصر كتابا يقول فيه: الموضع الذي فيه بنيامين بطرك النصارى القبط له العهد والأمان والسلامة من الله. شكرا عمرو بن العاص. يا سلام، ما عملهاش المقوقس المسيحي، عملها عمرو بن العاص المسلم.
In Jerusalem, Caliph Omar ibn al-Khattab issued the Covenant of Omar, a historic, documented pledge of safety that guaranteed the freedom of their churches and rituals, a document whose principles have been preserved for centuries. The conquests were about dismantling oppressive empires, not about forced conversion.
مدينة القدس تميزت بهذا الإخاء الديني، لا بل أشسر على القول أنها رمز الإخاء الديني، ذلك لأنها المدينة التي احتضنت اللقاء الإسلامي المسيحي الأول. عندما أتى الخليفة عمر بن الخطاب إلى مدينة القدس وكان في استقباله البطريرك الأرثوذكسي صفرونيوس، هذا كان اللقاء الإسلامي المسيحي الأول في المدينة المقدسة. وبعد إذن وخلال قرون طويلة كان هنالك التعاون والتفاعل والعلاقة الطيبة المستمرة والمتواصلة حتى الآن.
It is enough to reflect on what is happening in the world today to understand the true reason behind the spread of Islam. According to reports from leading research centers, such as Pew Research Center, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. This naturally raises a question. What sword is forcing people in America, Europe, China, or Russia to embrace Islam? There are no armies, no conquests, and no material power compelling this choice. The only sword that touches their hearts is the sword of truth.
Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't forget to like and subscribe.